I just want to try and simplify IFS. In the previous video, I described IFS as a logical construct towards your deepest nature. And what I mean by that is, if you've initially trained in IFS or you've read the books, you'll understand that there's questions that are asked in a systematic way to kind of navigate the mind towards the deeper nature, and pretty much that's what it is all about, is navigating the mind towards that deeper nature. And the reason why we go to that deeper nature, which might be scary for some parts, that's understandable, but the purpose of going to that deeper nature and accessing that deeper nature is because that nature is the nature that holds everything anyway. It's holding all the burdens, all the parts, and that's what makes it possible to go to those parts. It's almost like water diluting food, or a soup, or a squash, or a strong drink. It makes it possible to experience, more possible to experience. So that's it really, in a nutshell. And so we navigate, as we find our way there. It's a gentle process. We kind of dip our toes in and touch the self energy, and or touch a bit more self energy. Everybody's already got self energy. There's nothing new to us. It's just building that relationship with it a bit more, or the consciousness of it. So as we dip our toes in, as we move our way into the depths, we feel it out. We see what comes up, and we bring the energy to that and discharge the sting out of it. So it frees up the system. It loosens our psychological loosening, and it reduces the overwhelm. And we work it, sometimes with a particular part or a set of parts. Usually it's one or two, because there's usually a protector protecting a wounded part. So we navigate that. We have a relational navigation with those parts. And so the relational navigation is usually at least three. So it's self and the exiled part, the wounded part that's been kind of buried away, and then the protective part that is trying to stop you from feeling it, that's moved on in life and trying to do something else for you. And so we kind of navigate that way, and sometimes that can be a group of parts manifesting as one system, like a manager that controls a bunch of parts. And we just keep doing that. It's really that simple. And where it gets is tricky is the power of some parts, because those parts can take a very fierce position. They've been very established at what they do. Sometimes it can be people believe that that's who they are, is their identity, and often parts are mistaken for the stuff they actually carry. So it's a bit like seeing a house and thinking the house is the people inside it, when it's the shell. It's the stuff they've taken on board. So IFS is really inviting connection beyond the clothing of the parts, to connect with the actual living human being inside each part, and moving closer and closer to that fluid nature that is there and always was there. And it is really that simple. There's parts of me want to say lots more, and it could go into more complicated realms, and so simply put, it's that way. And that logical construct was Dick Schwartz's way of finding his way in the therapy room, is epistemology, what we call, and it's very useful, and it aligns very much with the noble path, I think. The route to the Buddha nature. And once you've become more experienced as an IFS practitioner, it can be not need to be so much the systematic approach of like a mechanized bunch of questions. It's more like a bunch of things that need to be achieved, and that can happen in many different orders. It doesn't have to be that particular order as in the books, but that comes with experience. And so it can be fluid. It can be just happen in a more easygoing way, and it can seem just like a conversation rather than a formal approach, and then the unburdening happens. So it's a very interesting thing, IFS, and it's something that I really love working with. That simplicity that is difficult to describe, and the fluidity of it. It's something about the more you do it, the deeper you go, and the more you practice, the more suffering or disturbances we get to resolve. And that's because as we go, the massive self energy becomes more conscious in and about your parts. The parts become more conscious of their own energy, their own self energy, and they become more conscious of the clothing that they're wearing, and that they might need to change their wardrobe. So what I mean by the clothing they're wearing, of course, is the burdens, the stuff that is no longer suiting them, the stuff that they're not comfortable in anymore, and the stuff that has been taken on board. And sometimes this clothing has been forced upon them, and they never even wanted it, but they've become accustomed to wearing it, sort of thing. And I hope that kind of makes sense. And I just wanted to say this, and it's part of me wondering if I've missed anything out that could be more useful. But I'll leave it there for now. Cheers.